This is very offensive. Who the F +7 a T2? What the f? If you +7 T2, you never do this to any equipments ever. And what is this? T4? Dude, he +3 this. A grey equipment. Hey, what is up guys? GuitarRock here. Welcome back to another Counter-Strike video. Alright, today's video is gonna be about gears, a topic that a lot of you guys have been asking me to make videos on. It might not be the best time right now because I'm not sure if you guys can hear it in the background, but it's raining really heavily right here with some storm going on. Hopefully you guys don't mind the background noises too much. Alright, so let me start off the day by crafting some gears. And our focus today will be on crit gears. A lot of you guys might not be aware of this, but crit is something that has diminished value of returns the higher it goes. So let me show you guys a couple of examples and hopefully these can give you guys an idea on which gears you ideally want to keep. But first, we gotta jump into some characters. Hopefully I can show you guys a couple of examples. Okay, let's look at a couple of ranges. Hopefully give you guys an idea of how much crit values are in general. So as you can see, in our most recent update about I don't know if this was 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago now, but they added the numbers, the percentage number beside the flat number. So therefore players are now aware of how much the value actually means. So 1000 crit is about 50% chance to crit, as you guys can see right here. 1000 equals to 50% chance. So Carl Wong has about 1017. This is at level 100. Obviously, as you go to 110, you limit fusion even more. That value will go even higher. So let's jump into Elizabeth, for example. Elizabeth has almost 1.2k. Alright, 1200. So that is almost 200 more than Carl Wong. Right, as you can see, 50%. So now Elizabeth has 200 more. And that will equate about 4.45% more. Like as you can see, the value of crit diminishes the higher it goes. So let's talk about crit gears in general, something that most of you might not be aware of. Investing into crit most of the time is not going to be worth it for characters that already have high crit. I'm going to give you guys an example. So let me see if I can change. Right now, as you can see, my Yomina is using a crit damage gear. So we're going to try to swap into some crit gear. Now as you can see, now I've equipped both a 2-piece crit gear on my Yomina. So that will increase my crit to 57.7%. As you can see, the increase is not much, going from no crit gear at all to 2-piece of crit gear. Now as you can see, this basically sums it up. Crit gears are pretty much useless on characters with high base crit, like Yomina. As you can see, even 1300, right? You're getting this 20% of this 1300, therefore you get this 227, which gives you this additional value. But even that, you're only getting like 4% more crit. Going full crit gears on any characters is just very bad investment wise because you get so much diminished value in return. How about characters with low crit? So we're gonna try to find some examples right here. Okay, let's look at Arachne here. Arachne only has 541 crit. So we're gonna unequip, we're gonna give full crit set for this guy. Okay, let's have a look. So 32% from 32% to 35%. So that's like 3% increase. As you can see, it's even not worth it on the characters that have low base crit. Now this should make sense because this 20% crit, right, is gonna depend on this value right here. If they have low base crit, there's no point to give them crit sets anyways. But for high base crit characters like Yomina, like I've shown you guys an example earlier, the same thing applies because of how crit works. You get a lot of diminished value in return. So the game is designed in a way, if you guys are not familiar with how crit works in this game, you will never get 100% crit chance in this game. Alright, the higher you go, the more diminished value you get. I have a feeling if you have 2000 crit, that will only be about 65 to 70% chance. So you're still nowhere near to 100% crit rate. In most cases, characters with high crit chance, such as Yomina, without any crit set, she already has 53% chance to crit. That means like almost 1 in 2 attacks she will always deal crit damage. So it makes so much more sense to give characters with high crit a crit damage set. So by default, she has 119% crit damage. So if I were to give her a full crit damage set, that will increase it to 172% crit damage. So overall, damage wise, like we don't even need to test. It just makes more sense to go crit damage on most of the damage dealing characters rather than going for crit sets. So in my opinion, crit sets is one of the most useless sets in the game, and I think no players should use them at all. So to all of you out there who was asking, hey GuitarRock, which gears should we throw out first? I would say any of the crit would be the priority to get rid of because there's just no need for them. Now let's move on to hit. Hit is going to be a bit more complicated, but it has the same concept. It has diminished value as well. Now characters that usually have high hit is going to be most of the snipers, right? So let's say Adamant Sniper. As you can see, this guy has 1477 crit. And then you have something like Sylvia, which 1800 hit. And then you have Xiaolin, 2278 hit. So characters with high hit, it doesn't make sense for you to give them a hit set to increase their hit even further because these characters are most of the time snipers. So you want to give them damage sets. You want to give them crit damage, you want to give them attack speed so that they can actually do burst damage throughout rather than improving their hit. Just a brief explanation on how hit works. Basically, if your character has more hit than the enemy evasion, that means the enemy would not be able to dodge your attacks at all. That's the gist of how it works. But in PvP, you don't decide who's the enemy they are fighting against. It depends, you don't know what the enemy has, alright? Unless you're only fighting the same guy over and over again. But most meta characters, yes, there are some characters that build their set towards evasion. But ideally, you don't really need to build hit specifically because even if your character does not have hit set, most of the time if you have ships like Enterprise, if you guys are not familiar, Enterprise has the ability to reduce enemies' evasion from this skill, right? Lose 50% of evasion, and also Enterprise boosts your hit in general. So using Enterprise ship, you don't have to worry about, enemy having evasion and stuff like that. Yes, there's evasion ships as well that boost evasion and things like that. But most of the time, hit sets are pretty much in the same boat as crit sets. You don't really need them because most of the time going damage is going to be far way better. So yeah, I hope this answers the question of majority of the players that have been asking me, which sets should you throw away? I would say if you have any sets that's crit or hit, those usually can be thrown away. I wouldn't hesitate sacrificing all of the crit and hit sets because generally you don't really need to use these sets at all in PvP or in PvE. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. So I'll try to make a more in-depth guide on the other stats. As always, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.